we do the next part of Lab 2, when you look at the file, it is still in 2 pages. And one important thing when you're doing a resume is to have a one-page resume. So let's see what we can do. And this skills area, there's a lot of lines here. So let's try to put that in columns and save some space. So in order to do columns, you highlight the whole area that you want to put into columns. Then you go to your Layout tab, and over here on the left-hand side is Columns. So when you click on Columns, you want 2 columns, but you want to do more on this. We're going to go down to More Columns. And since some of this is very, very wide, and we want to get it all on one column, we're going to select 2 columns, and we're going to not make them equal column width. So uncheck that. The first column, we're going to make 2.1 inches, or you can make it 2 inches, okay? The spacing is going to be 0.5, so we have very little room between the columns. And after that, Word automatically calculates the second column. When you click OK, you see here how column number 1 is very narrow, and column number 2 is wider, but that puts all of this information on one line. Had I made the columns equal width, the line with TIG, MIG, and ARC would be on 2 lines, and Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint would be on 2 lines. So it would be, it would still take up a lot more room. So let's go down and look at this. We are on 1 page. You can scroll down and look at it, or you can look right down here in the lower left-hand corner. It says page 1 of 1. So that's your columns, and that will even them out, okay? Now let's do the tab stops. If you look at the document that shows, let me see here, here it is. Here is the document, the instructions, and it says we're going to set the tab stops, but let me show you why on the example. See, there's our columns. The tab stops on the work history and the education, the dates are aligned here, and those are aligned at 3.25 inches. Then the city is aligned here at 5.88. The tabs all work in decimals, so that's why it's 3 1/4 inches and 5 7/8 inches, but you have to put it in as a decimal, 3.25 and 5.88. So let's go back to Word and see how that's done. So what you're going to do, you could do this one line at a time. You could do this line, and then you go down to the Inventory Manager line, but that's really the hard way. I'm going to select all of this clear down to the bottom, all of the education also. And I am going to go to the Home tab, and I'm going to go to the Paragraph group. And under the Paragraph group, down here at the bottom is Tabs. And on the tabs, what I want you to do, we put in the space, so that would be 3.25 is where we want the first one. Do we want it left aligned? Do we want it right aligned? Let's look at this. We want them left aligned, so all of them are left aligned. Also, on the city, we want that left aligned. So let's go back. We've got left aligned, and we're going to click Set. Then the next one we want is at 5.88, and we want that one left aligned also. And you're going to click Set. So now we're going to click OK. Well, that didn't move anything, did it? But if you go here right before the August, press your Tab key. That moves it right over to 3 1/4 inch. If you have your rulers on, you can see this, and you can see the tab right here, the tab marking. If you don't have your rulers on, go up to View and your ruler. This is how you turn on your ruler right here. So let's see what it does when we go to the F before Fresno and press Tab. It's right at 5 7/8. So now I'm going to go down to the Inventory Manager. I'm going to press Tab on this, and on Fresno, I'm going to press Tab. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to do it on all of the others. I'm just pressing my Tab key. Now go down to the Education. And see, now if I had not done this for the entire area, I would have to go into each of these lines and set these tabs. So it's much, much easier if you go through and do the whole range at once. Now when you're done with this lab, you should have all of the information up to this point, and it should be on one font. Should be on one page. If it's not on one page, one of the biggest things I find is that students didn't put all of this text in an 11-point font. All of this, the original instructions say all of the font except for the name and the labels should be in 11-point font. So all of this should be 11-point, and that is, all of this should be 11-point. If it's not in 11-point, you are not going to get it down to one page. Otherwise, it could be your margins or something like that. So what you can do in the case like that, in the home, if you see right here in the middle, it looks like a backwards P. That is the show hide. I think I showed you this once before. Look and see, like here I've got extra spacing. That could be keeping me on 2 pages. Things like that. So look at it real close. Make sure that your document looks like this one on the instructions. Scroll through. Everything's bold that should be bold. Everything that you've got in tabs here, you've got the columns, you've got the header, and if so, you are done with Lab 2. And I'll see you in a few minutes in Lab 3.